Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I am your host, Jeremy Chuggs. Coming up on today's program, some free agency rumors. An offensive lineman just hit the free agent market. Could the Texans pounce? Could Nick Caserio go and sign another guy to help possibly fortify this Texans offensive line? We'll break that down. And the latest injury news, injury reports from the Texans and the Cowboys. They face off on Monday Night Football, so we'll get into all of that. Before we get started, though, I mentioned Texans play the Cowboys this week. If you think the Texans are the team of Texas, go down and hit that like button, smash that thumbs up icon, because I'm not going to lie to you, I'm married to a Cowboys fan. I have friends who are Cowboys fans. Chat Sports is based in Dallas. So if you don't think this game means the world to me, the Texans need to win this game. I cannot afford a loss to the Dallas Cowboys. And I know a lot of people in Houston. You probably have friends that are Cowboys fans. You probably know people who are Cowboys fans. We can't let them have this. They're having a shitty season regardless, but we cannot let them beat us. This is about Texas, the Lone Star State. The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. And we need to own that. So go hit that like button if you think the Texans are the number one team of the great Lone Star State. Now, let's get into the latest free agency rumors. Nate Davis released by the Chicago Bears early Wednesday morning. This is the sixth season in the NFL. Could the Texans possibly sign him? I mean, was not playing great with the Bears. And I talked with our Bears host, Harrison Graham, and he put it lightly. Ever since the Bears signed Nate Davis to a 3-year contract 2 off seasons ago, he has not played well. And due to injury and somewhat of a benching this season, Nate Davis only 142 snaps on the year, a 53.6 overall grade from PFF, a pass blocking grade of 53.7, and a run blocking grade of 69.2. Very nice. And obviously he hasn't been great for the Bears. He hasn't been good the past 2 seasons. Could this be a scheme fit? Could this be the fact that he had a running quarterback last year in Justin Fields and another rookie kind of mobile quarterback in Caleb Williams? Could it also be, I talked to our Bears host, Harrison Graham, and he was telling me, you know, he had some tragedy right after he signed with the Chicago Bears. He lost a parent, and I know that does a lot of things mentally for you. And maybe he needs a reboot. Maybe it just wasn't right for him in Chicago. And the Texans could be that team that he signs with and has somewhat of a bounce back, a resurgence with. Because he knows the AFC South very well. He spent his first years with the Tennessee Titans, and his PFF grades with them, I mean, not too shabby. If you know PFF grades, a 70 is kind of a baseline good grade for PFF. 2022, 70.6 overall, around high 60s for run and pass block. 2021, I mean, the pass block is not there, but run blocking pretty good and an average grade of almost 69. And in 2020, kind of the same, around 69 overall, 72 run block, a little low on the pass block. But I think he has a little bit of potential. And with what the Texans have right now, maybe it is the right move to sign Nate Davis. I'll tell you what I think in just a moment, but I want to hear from you folks at home. I'm a man of the people, for the people. It's Chat Sports. It's not Jeremy Sports. So I want to hear from every single one of you at home. If you were the GM, if Nick Caserio was looking at you and said, hey, it's up to you, should the Texans sign Nate Davis? What would you tell him? Would you say yes or would you say no? Let me know down in the comment section. If you get hit with the YouTube ad break here, perfect timing. Scroll on down, let the ad play, and let me know your thoughts about the Texans signing Nate Davis. Yeah, the Texans should definitely consider signing Nate Davis. I mean, what do you have to lose? If you add him and he's not good, then yeah, you have another offensive lineman that's not good, but you already don't have a complete unit along the front, and you've been signing guys to the practice squad. You've been, claiming guys off of waivers that aren't as good as Nate Davis. I mean, you look at the configuration of the offensive line right now. Juice Scruggs, Jarrett Patterson, yes, it helped you in the pass game, but the running game was horrid up against the Detroit Lions. You couldn't get anything. I mean, 2 yards a carry. Seemed like Joe Mixon was getting hit in the backfield all night long. So signing Nate Davis could just add a little bit of, oomph to the interior of this offensive line. And maybe you say, Drew Scruggs, Shaq Mason, we're bringing him in. If you don't step up your game, we have another guy waiting in the wing alongside Kenyon Green or Zach Thomas. Maybe you just add another guy along the offensive line. Or does Nick Caserio feel like they've already done enough? I hope not, because this Texans offensive line still has me stressing. Coming up in just a moment, I have the latest injury reports coming out of Houston and Dallas ahead of their Monday Night Football matchup. Some actual good news for the Houston Texans. But before I get into all that, got to tell you about the sponsor of today's program, and that is Prize Picks. Get started today with America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there with over 5 million active members. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money all football season long. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with just 4 correct picks. And not only football, they have basketball, they have hockey, they also have MMA. John Jones, maybe his last fight ever. That's why I'm going with the less. I'm going with the less, and mostly, I'm not an MMA expert. I don't claim to be. But these are things that I want. I want the John Jones fight to end in 9.75 minutes. I want to see a knockout. Bo Nickel, I know he's more of a grappling guy, but 13 and a half significant strikes. Yeah, I want to see him lay the wood. And Veronica Hardy, I honestly just chose that name because I thought it was a cool name. I thought Veronica Hardy was a cool name for a MMA fighter. So I picked her. 45.5 seems like a lot, so I went with the less. You can use my picks, fade my picks. Just do it over on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Nico Collins. Some good news around him. We all thought he would be back up against the Lions, and then we got the rug pulled right from under us right before the game, 30 minutes before the game. They were like, oh, no, actually, Nico's inactive tonight. A little upsetting, but as long as Nico comes back and he's 100%, and we get the Nico Collins that we saw in the first 4 weeks of the season, yeah, sign me up. All things kind of are pointing towards Nico Collins returning Monday night up against the Cowboys. Some great news for this offense, for C.J. Stroud, most importantly for Bobby Slowick, whose back seems to be up against the wall right now for the Houston Texans. Also, the Texans get another key guy back, Mario Edwards Jr., who was going off with Denico Autry out with suspension, and then Mario Edwards gets his own suspension. He is back in the lineup now, so this Texans defensive line, which was already fantastic, is getting a little bit more scarier. So that is some great news for the Houston Texans as well. On the defensive front, some more injuries that we'll need to watch throughout the week, monitor as the week goes on. Will Anderson Jr. did not play this past week, dealing with an ankle injury he suffered at MetLife Stadium. I hate that stadium so much from the bottom of my heart, but Will Anderson still dealing with that ankle injury he suffered up against the Jets. Dameon Pierce out another week with that groin injury. Will he be able to come back? He's been dealing with that since the beginning of the season. So I wonder if they continue to sit him out to try to just really heal it up 100% or as close to 100% as they could possibly get. Fully Futakasi was actually played in this past Sunday Night Football game up against the Lions. Left with a foot injury. Will he be able to go on Monday night? Kamari Lassiter left that same game with a concussion that he suffered with colliding with Jimmy Ward. He will be in the concussion protocol, and as we all know, that usually means he'll probably miss this week, in my opinion, unless he can really get through those steps very quickly and shows that he's able to go. Kamari Lassiter could be missing this week. And Jeff Okudah, was able to come off IR, kind of looked like he might be able to play, and then the Texans ruled him out, I believe on Friday or Saturday, right before the game up against the Lions. Will he possibly be able to come back, especially if Lassiter's not available? this could be huge if we do get Jeff Okudah back in the lineup. Now, let's look at the enemy, the Dallas Cowboys. Cooper Rush should start on Monday night, but Jerry Jones said he was dealing with a neck strain, did not play well in the Cowboys' last game up against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they had to resort to going to Trey Lance. So I don't know if we'll see Trey Lance. I don't know if we'll see Cooper Rush, maybe a mix of the two, depending on how the game goes. If they just say, hey, F it, we'll put in Trey Lance for the second half. But Trey Lance also did not look good up against the Eagles. I mean, the whole Cowboys team just collapsed up against the Eagles. So this should be a game that the Houston Texans can get in and insert their dominance. Some more injuries to watch along the Dallas Cowboys front. Deron Bland, corner, dealing with a foot injury. Hasn't practiced in, I believe, almost a month. So interesting to see what happens this week during practice if Deron Bland will be good to go. Demarion Overshawn dealing with a little bit of a knee injury. Played in that game up against the Eagles. Kind of tweaked it a little bit, but it's believed that he should be able to go next Monday night. Tyler Guyton, the Cowboys' first-round pick, was kind of benched and then dealing with a little bit of a neck-shoulder situation. I don't know how much of that is real, how much of that is they're kind of saving him and don't want him to, ruin a first-round pick because I don't know if the Cowboys' offensive line coach just doesn't like him, thinks he's cheeks, or doesn't want to work with him. But there seems to be some disconnect with the Cowboys' first-round pick, Tyler Guyton. We'll see if he will be playing up against the Texans in our defensive front. And then Wanya Thomas, the safety, is in concussion protocol, so we might see him, we might not. We all know how concussion protocol works. But another guy you just have to consider on the Cowboys injury front. Now, that's all I have for you on today's show. If you made it to the very end of the video, make sure you spam those H's down in the comment section so I know who the real ones are, so I know who made it all the way to the end. And if you made it to the end, go drop those H's and make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, we're doing something right. You made it to the end of the video. Make sure you hit that sub button for daily Texans videos all year long.